Hi there, and thank you for clicking on my video. I was getting some questions about melee modding for Voruna due to her one buff when you come out of stealth. It has changed some things, and I'm seeing people claim that you need Weeping Wounds. Um, so let's talk about it. Uh, the buff from Voruna when you come out of stealth is a guaranteed slash proc, critical damage multiplier, and 100% flat status chance. This has changed how you mod for the weapons that you equip with this frame. Uh, because she is not incredibly tanky as far as like level cap capability, you are, even though you can get pretty tanky, obviously the equilibrium synergy um, does make her very, very tanky. The fact is even if you're running triple Umbra or Umbrals with like adaptation and like a physical damage resistance mod, is eventually you're just going to get one shot. Obviously, it's going to be higher considering that set, but eventually you're just not going to be able to maintain the tank. There's going to be a bombard that comes around and shoots you in the damn face. Like you're going to have to incorporate shield gating. And due to her play style, um, it's very much hit and run, and it can be very, very fast, provided you have a weapon strong enough to maintain it. So it's sort of cherry picking a weapon, but the setup that I'm using for Voruna is actually not even her main heavy blade. It's actually a Tenet Exec. And I have built this for absolute glass cannon raw damage. Even the Riven, even the negative on it, it's a plus range, critical damage, attack speed, minus status chance. Normally this roll, because of how high the minus status chance is kind of problematic. Due to Voruna and her passive when you come out of stealth, this ends up being a fantastic Riven. I have tried it with like 4.1 range, taken prime reach off, and it's still pretty solid. Just go in like double crit damage, it's fine. But if you notice our attack speed, it's almost 2 on a heavy blade. But if you absolutely positively want to run Weeping, and obviously this is a later, like a more complete mod collection setup. Multiple prime mods, Riven. If you don't have Prime Smite Grenier, you would just mod for an even bigger corrosive. I did want a little bit of faction damage, but obviously the Prime Fever Strike is going to put out more. This is a 60% toxin exec, by the way. Is more sort of raw damage. It's more flat damage compared to what the faction mod can make up, but there's no dot scaling. Now the flat damage isn't going to help. Obviously the setup would work better on a electric exec, which I am building. And I need to scale up the percentage. I have the electric weighting already, but this would be more effective if it was an electric exec. I don't want to swap over the toxin one because this is so effective against corrupted, which is currently the Lewis setup, right? So for your consideration, this is the case for not running Weeping. Obviously, if you had no Riven, which is a majority of the case, you could potentially run Weeping here, or you could ignore it and run Prime Fever Strike. Just drop it right here, right? So this way you would have to make up more attack speed. Obviously, the more attack speed, the more attacks. Because when you come out of stealth, you want to absolutely obliterate the enemy. And the combo that I'm getting pretty comfortable with, but I'm seeing I don't know where it came from, but you do not need weeping, especially after a couple hundred levels. You're not going to be visible long enough for weeping to matter. Actually, we're going to just make sure. Okay, we got dexterity on the Acrid. Paragale is merciless. Let's swap that over to dexterity, because we're going to be melee most of the time. So nice and easy. The combo is easy to maintain. We're going to be... and the playstyle is they actually set it during the live stream. The dev stream. And it says it in the tooltips. Find a weak enemy, or you like sort of skulk through the shadows and pick out weak enemies. The other side of that is you're supposed to find a weaker enemy, proc your statuses on it, and use the dot expansion to guarantee the dots or the statuses spread, but it find the weakest enemy so it guarantees the duration increase. So you're going to try not to pick on like Eximus first. Obviously, with this weapon at anything below 1,000, I'm going to be able to blow it up. But if you're playing Rivenless and you're missing some prime mods, you want to come out of stealth or 2 onto something that's weak. Maybe hit 2 2s on it, blow it up, and then blow up the stuff in the immediate surrounding and immediately disappear. Okay, you're going to have the duration increase the entire time if you do it right. Because right now my duration is at 10.75. I'm not going to be visible for longer than 5 seconds. So weeping isn't going to help me too much because I'm trying to one-shot everything. I'm not going to be running around visible because of how squishy the frame is. Because if I'm not killing something, I have no tank. So I have just enough. I am running a Brief Respite. This is a very comfy setup. You don't need these. It's just because I had the mod space, or the capacity, I was able to fit them on, and if you have the capacity, why the hell wouldn't you? It's like, oh, well, you only get 1 corrosive proc. Listen, if I'm built for corrosive, 1 extra proc helps me one-shot it even more. I'm not seeing a downside. Okay, it's not 10. Whatever. The double heat, that's just more of a dot damage, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use my range, the 12.25. I'm going to 2 onto something, blow it up, and everything inside of 12.25 meters dies as fast as possible. And I've got like 2-3 seconds. And then I immediately roll and guard out and stealth. And for those that don't have this mod, I've seen plenty of builds with Transient Fortitude. Though I understand where it came from due to the nature of her 1 literally being an energy fountain. Like, you might as well just be standing on top of energy orbs. Just a carpet of energy orbs. I'm going to proc this. Okay? Energy orbs grant 50% more ability strength to next cast. I'm going to proc this. Okay? Like, you're going to proc this. Jesus is going to proc this. Your grandmother is going to be able to proc this. And it's going to apply to the 1. And if you're at max energy, you'll cast 1, and it will get procced because it'll be up as when you come out. You're going to be max energy, and this stays until the next cast. There's no duration on it, so you're going to see the little parentheses in the top, and it's going to stay there until your next cast. So at every point, just because of how many energy orbs there are, you're going to have this. And provided you have vacuum, you'll not have it at the beginning. You'll 2 on to something with the 3 already on. You'll kill them, which will drop an energy orb. So the next time you cast 1, it gets it. But you're going to have blown up a couple of enemies. So when you jump out, the 1 will get it. But because you cast an ability that takes energy, it will then cause you to pick up an energy orb, which will be waiting for when you cast the 2. So all of this is going to get it. Because the gameplay loop, the combo is pretty well known, but it's just I don't know where it came from. People are saying you need Weeping Honor, and you, like, I understand it's potent, I understand its interaction with Conditioned Overload, but you're not going to be visible long enough for it to matter. So here's the loop. You're invisible. You're looking for a nerd to hit. You got the conditional mod proc. Gonna cast 3. Say this is the weakest guy, right? Look, I cast it. I got the bonus. I've got the conditional backup. Look, conditional's backup. So, easy enough. It's a very easy gameplay loop. The only thing that you really need to consider, right, is you want to kill... So you're casting your 1 to get out. You're casting your 2 one time. So ideally, for a quote-unquote closed loop of energy, you need to jump in, cast your 2, auto, and then stealth. And you need to kill 3 enemies to maintain your stealth. Okay, and to constantly regen energy. Now, we just killed 20. We're going to recharge. Bring in some more nerds. Alright. Stealth. Alright, easy enough. And I'm full health. And I've got the charge back. So at the sacrifice of 5 power strength, I'm keeping 27.5 more duration. And I didn't need Weeping. They're all dead. Okay? So this is about as how long you're going to be out of stealth when you're playing this frame. And you're damn sure not going to be out of your frame running around trying to apply Weeping Wounds. You're only going to be hitting stuff with the 1-up, which is a guaranteed status. A guaranteed status off the weapon, where it will roll because it's plus 100%. And a guaranteed slash proc, which is exactly why you roll for whatever the best combo element is. The only time you wouldn't would be against Corrupted, because you either go magnetic to deal with the shields, but the meta combo for dealing with Corrupted is slash toxin, which I can get away with. And this is the combo. And let me just tell you what the combos are. Alright, so for this weapon, and obviously if you have a Riven, just run wherever you want there. So this weapon here, or this modding config, is the meta configuration to deal with Corrupted. Because I have a forced slash, I do not have to worry about waiting. Okay? And because of how massive the toxin waiting is, and the fact that it's a guaranteed slash proc, I can just go to town on increasing my raw damage. So it would either be go magnetic to deal with the shields, which will eventually become a problem, and let the slash procs put in work, and get my viral from the Panzer, or I can go for Toxin, which bypasses shields, and for Slash, which bypasses armor, and I'm set. Right? For Corrosive, or for Grenier solely, because I have a guaranteed slash proc, my go-to is Corrosive. because I need to wallop them, and they're all going to have armor. So even if I'm not getting the plus 75% armor pen and the 75% damage increase from them being weak to corrosive, which is an issue with alloy armor, I'm still benefiting from the armor shred and from the armor bypass from the shield. And I'm still not going to be around long enough to need weeping. At most, it's going to give me 1 extra proc. You don't need weeping for this frame. I understand that, like, people are saying that, but because of the way the frame works and the fact that it's very, very hit and run, you're never going to be autoing something without the bonus, and you're not supposed to with this frame. It's very, very hit and go. And obviously, against Corpus, you would want to do like a magnetic toxin, and then maybe you would worry about weeping then. You would go like a monster toxin waiting, and then you would do like magnetic or something if that's what you wanted to do. Or, and follow me on this, you just go pure toxin, and if you come across, or pure magnetic, and if you come across something that has armor, well, you got a 4 slash proc anyway, right? So faction matters, raw damage matters. Weeping, there is an argument for it, I get it, but due to the nature of how you fight with this frame, and how you're constantly going in and out of stealth, you're supposed to be hit and run like a pack of wolves. And even then, as much of a meme as it is, because I've been running this solo and testing it for the past couple of days, it wasn't until like literally yesterday that I played in a mission, and sure enough, all 4 of us were fucking Vorunas. And the one issue with energy cost became extremely apparent that it's not an issue. If you're playing with other Vorunas, because you're supposed to be a wolf pack, right? So the frame actually gets kind of stronger the more Vorunas on your team. Because if they're proccing 2 and you're proccing 2, you're probably hitting their enemies. They're probably hitting your enemies. So the RNG doesn't matter, because it's getting to the 2's getting procced so many times. You're just blowing everything up, and it's a constant dot nuke. So if you're playing with other Vorunas, you're way stronger than you think you are. Just go raw damage and just blow stuff up. You're not supposed to be running around while visible and trying to kill stuff without weeping, or with weeping. Just go in and just nuke stuff, okay? I'm going to do a little bit of SP so it becomes pretty apparent of how you need to build it and see what the benefit is. This will get stronger. Maybe I'll do another video when I get the electric exec up to 60%, because that would be way more beneficial, way more damage, to have the Prime Fever Strike on there and still get corrosive, right? So actually with this weapon, if you don't have double attack speed because of how slow it is, I would say potentially do Berserker. Because in order for this to work fast, you need no buildup, you need damage on demand. It's all front loaded. All of the damage is front loaded. So it's as big of a burst as possible. There's no wind up because of Berserker or anything like that. But if you don't mind it, you could do like Gladiator Vice and Berserker. If you don't have Strike, because I even have Strike on the frame. I have Strike on the frame for even more attack speed. So I have 3 things boosting my strength. So not only is it a 1.97 attack speed, but I also have Strike on top of it to get the attack speed up on this heavy blade. But anyway, I'm going to do a couple minutes of SP, first Acolyte, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the deal. You don't need Weeping. I mean, if you really, really want to put Weeping on there, you're more than welcome to. But it is not a requirement of this build. And honestly, if you have faction mods, or if it frees up space in your build to go a really, really big beneficial element, I would say do that. But anyway, I'm going to do first Acolyte so you guys can get the gist. Should be pretty simple. Anyway, enjoy the footage. Actually, you know what? I said I would do commentary. Just what I'm thinking. Okay, first 5 minutes, I'll give commentary on it. We're gonna pad. Yeah, I've got Gladiator Vice. The one thing I will say I do have to watch out for is there's a set of flame turrets that apparently can see me when I'm invisible. So I actually gotta target those guys. Found that out the hard way. And for Corrupted, the MOAs can see you when you're invisible. It offers you no protection against them. Like, once they can see you, they see you. Alright, melee's locked in. Rolling guard. Just building combo. See, when you come out, it's nice and quick. There's not really... There's not really a chance for him to counterattack. And there shouldn't be if you're trying to do a long survival. See, like this guy? That's the biggest problem you're gonna have. Just double tap him. And just make sure to kill anything that's like a turret or whatnot. See, it's very hit and run. If you don't like an area due to like a tanky enemy or something, just go in and dot the enemy or something nearby, or try to dot like okay, I one-shot that guy. Okay, so just smack him so you can get a dot onto it nearby. And it'll weaken the enemy. Right? Like, if you didn't want to fight that guy, you could just go over and just dot them. And if you're waiting on rolling guard, just take a break. Go somewhere else. right? It's very, very fast paced. So take something strong, have something fun. All right, first nerd, it's angst. Kind of hoping for a little tougher one. Man, where's he at? Right, dot kills him. Nice and easy. There's 5 minutes. Swap over to our movement speed. Didn't use any heavy attacks. Didn't feel like we were going to need to die. They were dying to quick autos. So nice and easy. This is sort of the play style that I found is most effective with her. But tell me at what point when I was one-shotting stuff that Weeping Wounds would have helped me. Weeping Wounds is for a weapon that hits multiple times, okay? You now have enough damage to one-shot or two-shot. So even though Weeping would give you an extra status proc, maybe, and it would maybe benefit you on hitting them again, I've taken this weapon up against like enemies in the thousands. It's fine. Voruna, I've now gotten into a 2-hour survival, so a couple hundred levels, not a big deal. And say like Cascades, against like 500s. Okay, and I never really had an issue keeping her alive. The thing that was killing me was me, not the frame. And also because I was playing with teammates, not being able to maintain my energy pool, right? So the build that I've set up is pretty simple. It's a brief respite and one auger mod. As you can see, no auger mods on the Acrid from a video I did earlier. So in order to shield gate with the 2, instead of with the 3, or say like a helmet ability like Terrify, in order to shield gate with the 2, I need brief respite and one auger mod. And I've got overshields. And because it's a spammable ability, there's nothing wrong with it. It's quick overs. At a minimum, it's an oh shit button. You get overs, you rolling guard, you're gone. Rolling guard, cast your 1, you're invisible, you're status immune, damage immune, you're gone. Right? So the goal of what you're trying to do is to roll in, blast at least 3 enemies, 4 if you can, because as soon as you kill 3, your energy neutral, energy drain, energy gain is equal. Anything over that, and you've gained energy. So that's sort of the gameplay. You don't need weeping. Okay, at what, like, when you saw the gameplay, at what point did I need weeping? I'm one-shotting stuff. And you can go build this weapon right now. Even without the Riven. Just swap it out for an attack speed, like a Gladiator Vice. And it'll basically do the same shit. Okay? So, food for thought. You don't need it. Okay, so let's talk alternatives. No Riven, obviously. No Prime Smite. I am going to assume you have Prime Fever Strike, though. You could do something like this and just straight up raw damage them. And this would do A-OK also. And it would help you get reds more often, but you would lose crit damage. It's a good thing there's crit damage on the frame. You can just adjust for it by getting a little bit more power strength. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You don't need weeping with this frame specifically. So, food for thought. I hope it helps. Every other time you need weeping. Okay, every other time you need weeping for long runs for a combo counter build with condition overload, blood rush. Uh, what is it? The standard combo counter build? Yeah, this shit. Right? You need weeping for this. What the hell was I building here? Oh, I was trying to get slash. Okay. Yeah, I was messing with the weighting. Um, so food for thought. You don't need weeping. For this frame uniquely, unless you're doing like a proper, like forced slash on the stance. So say like anything that can equip stinging thorn effectively, like you or malicious raptor, right? You could be forgiven for not running weeping if you just want the slash procs, right? So it's up to you. But yeah, for this frame specifically, you do not need it. If you don't have the faction mod and you don't have Prime Fever Strike, then okay. If you're running out of mods or if you don't have a specific one, then obviously there's the next best benefit, right? And eventually you'd get down to weeping with this frame. But as it sits right now with this, if you have decent mods, a decent mod collection, you don't need it. So there you go. There's the case for it. Y'all have a blessed day. I hope this helps. Take it easy.